gonna move on to the highly controversial, which, the truth be told, I think people doing a little bit too much, man. Vach, we kind of all...
I think the issue I have with this is historically they've scored fights like this for the wrestler.
They've done it.
And for years, I never approved of it.
We've never...
You cannot get beat up standing up, but then get a takedown, and then all of a sudden you win the round, you win the decision.
We've seen Ryan Bader. We've seen Josh Castaneda. We've seen GSP. We've seen so many people do this for years, and we've always kind of been in the middle where it's like, no, wait a minute. Judging a fight is not necessarily saying you got pieced up for 3 minutes, but you had 2 minutes of control time. But at the same time, you didn't pass guard, you didn't drop no ground and pound. You did get beat up on the feet for 3 minutes. That outweighs your takedown. But they scored for the person who got the takedown. We've seen them spoil people and let them fight like that and win. Man, we saw Eddie Alvarez lose like that to Donald Cerrone. We've seen that so many times, man. And that was just one example of a striker doing it. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden, now you get to the Sean O'Malley fight, now you want to score for damage over wrestling. And now everybody's rightfully upset because it's like, y'all historically have not done this. We've seen people get beat up for 4 minutes standing up and get one takedown and win a round. We've seen this, man.
GSP damn near won that round against Carlos when he got head kicked.
GSP got head kicked and almost sent to another planet, like wherever they was on Thor. Whenever Hulk was fighting them people on a different planet with the Collector, like he got sent to like another dimension and still won that round off control, off of wrestling. In a fight where we saw his soul leave his body. Now all of a sudden you want to score for damage. Now, as far as when I was watching the fight, I felt like, and I was 50-50, so I'm not a Sean O'Malley fan per se. Like, I like him and Piotr. Like, I respect their skill sets. But I didn't have a dog in this fight. If I was betting, I wouldn't have touched this one. But we said that this probably was going to happen. It was going to be a 50-50 joint. The reality is, because of how they've historically scored it, I assumed Piotr would have won. But when I was watching it, I kind of felt like Sean was actually doing more to win the fight. I feel like Piotr was panic wrestling. Truth be told, there was one point where Piotr shot from the center of the octagon and he dove on Sean's legs from like 5 feet away, just trying to grab him because he was like, nah. And there were several times where Sean was walking Piotr down and almost finna put him away. And Piotr, he landed that one big clean shot and then he wrestled, but he didn't pass guard. I can understand if you got the takedown, then you go to half guard, then you go to side guard, then you go to full mount. Man, look, if that's the case, I have no argument for Sean. There's nothing I can do to defend you. Piotr, you got a panic takedown because you were about to get knocked out and then you didn't do nothing with it. Yeah, you may have held on to it for a minute and a half. Then Sean got up. Okay, you end up striking again. Piotr had a little bit more combinations, but he didn't really hit Sean enough to hurt him. But Sean was hurting Piotr. So the object of the fight is to finish the fight, correct?
Yeah.
That's the object. You're trying to finish the fight and it might go to decision. Now, if you're going to wrestle, your wrestling has to lead to something that's going to finish the fight. So if you're wrestling, I need to see some heavy ground and pound. If you're wrestling, I need to see you advance in position, going for submission attempts. You did not do that. You just did wrestling, and then you thought you was going to win. But that's how Aljamain beat him. Ain't that crazy? But no, but the thing is, no, that I'm actually wrong about that because Aljamain actually took his back and was trying to choke him out. That's why I think that Piotr fans are saying, well, Aljamain did the same thing. No, he didn't. Aljamain didn't take him down and stay in his full guard. Aljamain had that back. A lot of other lesser fighters would have been choked out. It ain't like Aljamain was just in his full guard and then Piotr stood up. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think?
Who do I think won, or what do I think about the fight?
Both.
I mean, historically, they gave the fights to the wrestlers. I mean, I think Piotr won because of how they scored fights in the past, but I think Sean did way more damage. So, like, I think Sean won the fight, but based on how they...
What's that website you go to for the UFC stats?
UFCstats.com.
I'm starting to see these weird situations, man, where people are posting different stats. I'm seeing memes where they saying that Sean outstruck Piotr. I'm seeing memes where they're saying Piotr outstruck Sean. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on at this point.
No, what happened was Sean, he landed more significant strikes. Piotr landed more overall strikes. Because, you know, he took him down. He was doing like the ground and pound. But those not significant strikes, man.
And then those strikes didn't do nothing to Sean. Like, I'm sorry, but, dude, that was one point. Dude, that was several times where we thought Sean was about to knock Piotr out. Now, there is a thing going around where they're saying that Piotr saying he might ask for a release from the UFC because he feel like they're not supporting him. Man, what did I tell you before this fight? I said I'm going to have to pick Sean O'Malley for one reason. not because I think he's better. Piotr think he can give up rounds, and he think he automatically win the first round. Dude, you're not fighting Uriah Faber. You're not fighting an old Jose Aldo 2015 or whenever they fought. You cannot give up a round. Like, I feel like Aljamain won that first round in the second fight because Aljamain looked like he was a little bit more active. Was he the better striker? No. But I feel like he was doing more to try to get the round. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then against this fight, I think that Sean was doing a little bit more. And Piotr was he was doing things to see how Sean would react. But he wasn't doing it his intent was to collect data that he could use as the fight went on. He did this against Corey Sandhagen. Take the first round off, and let me just do enough to see how you respond. Bro, you lost that round, though. You don't get to just say, oh, I'm collecting data, I'm reading my opponent, and think that you won. Like, how do you think the judges are scoring that round? You think they're giving it to you? Like, what are you doing? You don't automatically get a round just because you're taking that round off to collect data. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, though, but in a 5-round fight, though, you kind of...
But in a 5-round fight, you still giving up a round. Like, that's why he lost the Aljamain fight. That fight would have been a unanimous decision for Piotr if he just didn't take the first round off. He could have did a little bit more and clearly won the first round, and he clearly won rounds 4 and 5. So he would have won that fight. I'm sorry, man. You don't get to take off rounds, bro, and think you just got it. I don't know where that mentality comes from. I have never seen nobody do that in the UFC. Historically, slow starters, like, they either pay for their slow start and they get finished, or it gets held against them. For some reason, he think that he should still get it just because I'm reading my opponent.
So Sean O'Malley landed 84 significant strikes, and Petr Yan landed 58 significant strikes.
And then you got to realize with the 84, he did more damage. The thing is, people are going to say that, yeah, takedowns. Yeah, but what led to the takedown? He was about to get knocked out and he had to go for the takedown. Why are we eliminating the why? We are eliminating what happened before that, and now we're not scoring the fact that Sean had him hurt.
And another thing is, let's break it down. In the third round, Sean O'Malley, he outstruck Petr Yan 40-15. So we know who won the third round. That's not even up for debate. And the second round, I'm looking on UFCstats.com. Okay. So in the third round, Sean, he outstruck Petr Yan 40-15, right? He clearly won the third round, Sean O'Malley. The second round, I think Petr Yan won that round. He got multiple takedowns. He got 3 takedowns, controlled them for 2.5 minutes. The first round is one that that's up for debate. The first round can go either way. That's what I'm saying. I don't really know who won this fight.
Let's be real. We know, but who took a round off to collect data? Who took a round off? How do you win the round when your whole goal for round one is to just see how my opponent going to respond to my feints? You see what I'm saying? I'm saying even with the first round, I can see a case for both fighters, but for people to act like, I'm not saying Sean won definitively, but what I'm saying is that Petr didn't win definitively. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying Sean did. I'm just saying Petr didn't. Stop feeling entitled, man. You spend your first round trying to collect information. Go back and listen to the preview show that we did. Go back and listen to what me and Kobe talked about. I said it. I said, in a 3-round fight, in round 2, Petr gonna be down already by 1 round. I said that. I said, so now it's up to Sean to not get 10-8 in the 3rd round. I said that. I'm sorry, man. Petr, you might not have definitively lost because I can make the argument for you winning, but at the same time,
I wasn't surprised when they said Sean won. I wasn't surprised.
That was a little bit of a business decision as well, you know. The truth be told. But how come they mad about the Sean O'Malley outcome? How come y'all ain't talking about Khamzat and Gilbert? Y'all want to act like that didn't happen, though. Because let's be real, this fight wasn't even as close as that fight. But you was okay with Khamzat winning. You ain't had nothing to say. Oh, no, never mind. No, next fight.
I think the issue is a lot of people lost money, and Sean was a big underdog, too, man. So I think it's also money involved in this decision that people say. Because if you put money on Petr Yan, he the favorite, and you lost 10,000.
And he wrestled, and historically people who were getting beat standing up were able to go back and fall back on the wrestling and win a decision, and you done put up $1,000, you would be like, whoa. I think it'd be more understandable for Petr fans if they historically fight like this. Because you know what happened? What happened is next week, Arnold Allen will be putting hands on Calvin, and Calvin will wrestle him down to the ground, and then Calvin will win a decision off of wrestling. Even, you see what I'm saying? Something crazy like that'll happen, and it'll be like, well, wait a minute.